Time for Ask the Mayor on KWBE. Each week, Beatrice Mayor Stan Wirth with us, but we have a special program today. Not that you're not special, Stan. But,
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But we are going to pay tribute to one of the longest employees of the city of Beatrice. We were talking about this, Stan, this morning. Dave and I were trying to think of who has the record for longevity with the city. If Diana's not at the top, she's got to be pretty close. So,
Really close. I think Steve Kelly is really close, too.
Yeah.
I think Steve Kelly is 40-plus years. Yeah. But, Diana, you are...
Almost 51.
Almost 51.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Huh.
I would say I vote for Diana.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Diana is with us today. Also, Dennis Schmitt. Dennis, welcome. You'll be taking over for Diana here pretty soon. We'll talk with you here in just a little bit. But, Diana, we were talking about before the program, if you're one of these calendar markers or counters, you know exactly how many days you got left, I take it.
Yes, I do. I have about 22 days left.
As you approach it, and I ask this of a lot of people, what's your thought about it? You know, coming to an end of a career like that, is a little bit of happiness yet sadness, or how's that work?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I know it's going to be an adjustment after that many years. Kind of letting go is also going to be probably pretty tough. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's time to let someone else take it over and go for it.
What's in retirement? Got any major plans, or how do you...
As of right now, just looking forward to being able to enjoy life for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stay with the Nebraska Aviation Council. Also, I'm a commissioner at the Department of Aeronautics, NDOT. So that's an appointed position by the governor, and that term ends in 2025. So I'll also stay involved with that.
I see. Do you lobby for reappointment to that, or can you just... Is it one of those positions where, people, regardless of what administration comes in, you're reappointed pretty often to those? Or what?
As a commissioner, you put your name in, and then the decision is made whether or not you're. I've been reappointed a couple times, so in 2025, I'm sure I'll make the decision whether or not I want to put my name in there again.
Aeronautics kind of got melded into what is a Department
NDOT.
of Transportation. They used to be separate entities, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Yes, recently they were merged.
Yeah. I ask this to people because I usually can't remember what I did 2 or 3 weeks ago, but you look back. You remember your first day on the job, what it was like?
I pretty much do. I do. I remember Don Fitzwater as the airport manager and my mentor. One of the first things he asked me to do was to look up into the sky and tell him how high I thought the clouds were.
Really?
And
were you close?
I don't remember, but
Good answer.
but through the years, you get better.
Yeah.
We were all certified weather observers at that time. To work there, you had to be a certified weather observer. And we put weather on the teletype.
I remember teletypes.
Do you? And so from there, it was disseminated to the National Weather Service and other areas. So, yes, that was one of the things that I remember clearly. That was replaced by an AWOS, which is an Automated Weather Observation System. That was in 1991. So that was 24/7. So it was kind of a blessing that that was available to our pilots.
Yeah. Back many, many years ago, say in the 60s, 70s, as far as pilots and the resources they had available to them as they land and take off, how much has that changed?
It has changed a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different lead-in light systems. Radio communication is completely different. So many changes there. Of course, the AWOS has helped. That gives the pilots information as they get near the airports. I've seen a lot of changes.
Yeah. The airport's origin, actually, I was reading the history account that you have on the city's website about it, dates back to 1930, when the idea first came about, I guess.
Yes, it was early on, but then in September 1946, it was dedicated.
I see. Okay. what was kind of the impetus that got the ball rolling? Yeah, I'm sure you had to have a lot of people dedicated to wanting an airport, but was it a matter of a group of people getting together, say, hey, we need an airport here, whether it's pleasure flying, business, commercial, whatever?
It did kind of begin with a group of guys that decided and realized how important the airport would be to a community and the city of Beatrice. And so they did get together early on, and then it did take several years before things actually started, revolving into being able to get the airport.
Yeah. You've been Airport of the Year how many times?
Twice.
Twice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. In 2016, actually 1992 and 2016
Is that kind of do you have to apply for that? You have to make certain
nominated
improvements? Nominated.
You're nominated.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Stan, one of the things in past years, I know there's always those that, for whatever reason, will question, well, why do you provide tax support, some tax support to an airport? And we've heard, I'm sure Diana's heard it before, it's a rich person's thing, that type of thing. But just the commerce part of it, from helping businesses that you have in town bring their people here, the deliveries that fly in, out, things like that, people maybe don't see that quite as much.
It assists as a driver in economic development, and that's really important for any community. And we're really fortunate to have an airport of this size and of this quality for pilots to fly into with small aircraft or with small jets. And we're seeing that more and more often all the time. And with increase in industry in our industrial park, I think, and what we have kind of on the drawing board right now, I think you're going to see an enhanced use of the airport, not strictly for, but in a lot of ways for economic development as well as pleasure flying.
Dennis Schmitt, you come to here you're from Ord originally, as I understand. You come here from Kansas City, though. Similarities, you're a much bigger population area at the airport you came from, but do you see similarities as far as the commercial aspect of flying and the importance to this area compared to the one you were at?
There are some similarities. I should say maybe more of a difference down there. Being closer to Kansas City, there was a lot more charter flights and more private flying and stuff down there. Okay. Up here, there is a little bit with the general aviation. We don't see as many charter flights and things here, but down there, that was kind of more of a hub for charter aviation in Olathe, Kansas.
Dennis, you're an Air Force veteran, I understand.
Correct. Retired with, just under 24 years. Served about 5 years in Japan when I first went in. Stationed in Korea. Spent a lot of time in Northern California at Beale Air Force Base, but just under 24 years. How'd
you come to find out about the position up here, and kind of take us through kind of what got you interested in?
Well, that's kind of an interesting story too. My wife's originally from Beatrice.
Oh, I see.
And for the 10 years or so that I've been living down in Olathe, Kansas, we've always talked about getting back to Nebraska and getting a little closer to home and stuff. And it was right before Christmas on Facebook, she had seen a post somebody had shared about the position opening up and that they were going to start interviewing. And I didn't even tell her about it. I went downstairs, retweaked my resume and stuff like that and applied. And a little bit later I went upstairs and I applied for that job. And she was kind of surprised, a little shocked too. I don't think she really expected us to kind of make the move or take some steps to do it, but everything just kind of worked out. Interviewed a few months later in February and was offered the position and got the ball rolling, and happy to be here.
Stars kind of lined up and everything just worked out that way. Diana, you've been working with Dennis, since about July, I think.
July 1st.
Yeah, so what's been kind of the transition like? Is it just a matter of kind of getting familiar with the operation here and dealing with the board and governing board and everything?
Exactly. Yeah, working on daily chores, daily things that we need to do, plus weekly, plus monthly, plus the annually, I mean, just everything that needs to be done so everything can be a real smooth transition, and everything is going well.
Yeah. You do have a governing board, the airport authority.
We have
and those are elected positions too. They're not appointed. So
That is correct.
Have some long-term members on there. Is that good to have? Maybe institutional knowledge about how the airport works.
Absolutely. Having them on there, they kind of know background, and with their knowledge, everything goes smoothly.
Okay. We have with us today Diana Schmitt. She will be retiring as airport manager at Beatrice Municipal Airport. Dennis Schmitt will be taking over. Mayor Stan Wirth with us. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Back on Ask the Mayor with our guest today, Diana Schmitt. She'll be retiring as director of the Beatrice Municipal Airport. With us, Dennis Schmitt from Kansas. He's from Ord originally. Will be taking over for Diana at the end of this month. Mayor Stan Wirth with us. Told me something during the break that I didn't know. Congratulations. What's that?
In 2019, I was inducted into the Nebraska Aviation Hall of Fame. That was one of my highest honors, and very humbling experience.
Got all kinds of awards. Airport of the Year, Hall of Fame member.
Yes.
That's what happens when you're dedicated for many years in aviation.
Very passionate about it.
I wanted to ask you before we get into a little bit about some of the improvements the airport over the years. I failed to ask. We were talking about commercial use and business use of the airport. Diane, on a daily basis, just as a few examples, what are some of the major companies that use the airport that? And we see big planes fly in once in a while on a daily or every other day basis. But what are some of the companies you see all the time that use the facility?
The Butler. Up north by Pickerel, their company, they fly in. We see a lot of pipeline patrols. They come in. They're not jets, but can't even think of Coke Nitrogen. Some of the other businesses surrounding area. Some days we'll see 3 or 4 jets in all at once, and other days, we won't see one, but it's just, you just never know from day to day. One thing we learn is that no day is the same. I mean, every day is different.
And UPS flies in on a daily basis.
Yes, UPS does fly in. They pick up the parcels, packages every evening, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday morning.
I've heard the question asked pretty frequently, how big of a plane can you land at the airport, given your runways that you have right now?
It depends on the weight of the aircraft. How large it is of course, part of that. But a lot of it is the weight of the aircraft, depending on, whether or not the runway can support it.
I see. Over the years, if you look back, what are some of the most beneficial major accomplishments as far as expanding the airport, improving it, that really led to kind of a next stage? We really come this far, and was it the runways themselves? Was it having 2 runways, length of runway, lighting system? What are some of the major things?
All of that.
All of the above.
All of the above. But we're so fortunate because we right now have 2 brand new runways. Early years, several years ago, we did get a parallel taxiway that runs the entire distance of the north-south runway. That was a huge safety factor. Originally, our northwest-southeast runway was the long runway. Later years, we had an extension of 1,600 foot on that north-south, making it the longest. But with our 2 brand new runways right now, we also have new LED runway lighting. And so it's been a huge improvement. Now we're working on our next project, which is our apron, the ramp area, which will include changing our fuel island from the center of that ramp to the edge. That's a request from the FAA. They feel that is necessary to open up that area.
How do you fund those projects? Is it through primarily FAA grants or loans, or how does that work?
That is correct. Okay. It's 90. Our share is 10%, and then we request a bond issue to pay for our 10% share.
Mayor, the city does provide some tax support, but it's not a lot of money in the overall scheme of things.
It is not. I
Diana's
think,
always kept the budget pretty tight as far as the
Yeah.
city.
And it actually has decreased this next year by a small amount, if I'm not mistaken.
This year, I think it might have.
Well, the levy has.
The levy.
The levy has
Yes,
decreased. Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the other sources of revenue you might have would be what from, say, like
We have fuel sales, hangar rents, ground leases. We also have a farm ground that we lease. Also sell bales of hay, which is also very helpful. They do that annually.
I see.
So all of that goes, all of it is put together.
How important were the lighting improvements, the guiding pilots in and the landing type systems and things like
The
that?
lead-in light systems, we have a Mulzar, that's a medium intensity alignment lighting system. That helps keep our minimums low, keeps them lower, so that on days when the weather is bad and the clouds are low, that helps get those pilots, those aircraft into Beatrice, which can be helpful for the other businesses in Beatrice. Say if they need, parts or they need to have meetings, then they're able to get into town.
Got asked by somebody the other day, what happens when a plane, say, comes in is going to land at, say, like 1 or 2 in the morning? Is somebody always at the building there guiding them in?
No,
Or is
we're-
it automated in some respect? How does that work?
We're open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. as far as in the building, having somebody attending, but the runway is open 24/7. Runway lights are on from dusk to dawn, so they can still come in. And there's also, of course, phones where you can also have a call out.
Yeah.
If they do need fuel. We have 100 low lead that is self-service, so they're able to come in 24/7.
Is there a lot of, I don't know what you call it, dead of the night traffic or that we wouldn't see when we're sleeping, or people coming in, say,
Yes, yes.
late at night toward 5, 6 in the morning, whatever the case
Absolutely.
may be? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, they can come in at any time. And we do see it on occasion in our self-service records where people have stopped through the night.
One of the things the airport has held over the years is various events. I know you've had fly-in events, you've honored veterans out there, you've had, I think you had a race a few years ago, a kind of a timed race.
Oh, it was a U.S. Air race.
You were
with-
one of the stops on that. How much fun was it being involved in those things?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, all the gals. It was only females. The other one was the Eclipse. That was great. That was a very interesting time and a fun time. We had a lot of traffic and a lot of great people.
Is that the most traffic for one event that you probably ever had, or what's the biggest event, would you say, that
I would say the U.S. Air race, but because that was 50-some aircraft. I think it was over 50. And then they spent the night because they were weathered in. So, it was an interesting group.
Get some business traffic for the city of Beatrice, no hotel
Lodging
traffic.
tax, sales tax.
Yep. We talk about that all the time.
Absolutely.
Another thing people don't really think about, that's money to the community. Dennis, you've probably seen that too, Kansas City, just sheer volume of business, visitors in that area. It's really important.
Yeah, it's very important to a community, and just even since I've been here, there's been you have conversations with customers that come through, and people, the way Lincoln has grown south and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that make the comment about it's just as easy to come down here to fly from Beatrice than it is to drive around Lincoln and get up to the airport there. So there's a lot of room for growth here.
Diana, obviously you'll be retired by then, but aside from the apron improvements that are coming up next, is there any one thing you look out there and say, boy, I really wish we had this, and this would really take us to the next level? Or is there a particular project that, Dennis, maybe you can chime in on that too? Just looking at it, if you could dream and say, boy, if money were no object, we'd like to have this.
More hangars.
More hangars.
That's what I was thinking. And that's kind of, I don't want to say on a small scale, but that's kind of an immediate need right now. We have a pretty extensive waiting list of people that would like to be in a hangar, but we just don't have the space for them right now. So, but on a grander scale, I guess, since Diana's retiring and taking over, I'm kind of in line with what Stan's been talking about too, and the growth, the businesses bringing more economic development into the town. So
Available land that you could build new hangar space?
We do have it on our airport layout plan for hangars. We've just not had the income or the money to be able to do that because the FAA allows us to use federal dollars for hangars, although you need to get all of your airside work done first. So between the hangars and the ramp areas, so we were trying to get that completed to move on to hangars, but we get calls for hangars daily, and we have a long list. And so there's definitely a want and a need to be here in Beatrice. We just don't have we do not have the room.
When the project requires FAA funding or grants because it's just of a size that you need that support, do you have to get in line for that funding? Do you have to?
It's a process.
Yeah. Are you? Can you get? You figure that you won't get a grant every year, but like what, every 3, 4, 5 years?
4 years.
4
yeah,
years?
it's about every 4 years.
Okay, so it takes a certain amount of patience. There may be something you want to do, but you can't.
It's a process to go through.
Okay. Back with more to wrap up Ask the Mayor with Diana Smith, Dennis Schmitt, and Mayor Stan Wirth in just a moment on KWBE. Back on Ask the Mayor, we have about 5-6 minutes left. Wanted to touch on just a few things from Monday, Stan. Of course, the budget approval for fiscal 23. You're on a biennial schedule, of course, but maybe some of the highlights from that people will see. I know one thing they like is no rate increases other than the sewer charge, and then the garbage rate is going to go up a little bit.
The garbage rate is going to go up $2 per month per household. As far as the wastewater pollution control department, you're going to see probably a 65 to 69% increase per average household, and I think commercial customers will increase about $5 a month.
As far as the overall spending in the budget, I know when you're on a biennial thing, some things shift from one year to the other depending on.
And we've had some projects that have been carried over into the next fiscal year just because of situations where we couldn't get contractors in on time to get the projects done. Fiscal year 2021-22, our budget was at $58 million. For 22-23, it is going to be about a 7% decrease, or down to about $54 million, which is good news. As far as property tax request, it's increased about 1%, but the valuation has increased about 7%. So overall, we're going to see a tax rate that, I beg your pardon, I think the tax rate has, or the valuation has increased 8%. And the overall tax rate will be a negative 7%. So it's going down.
With the budget you have approved, there's that new law that if you exceed a certain level, you have to go through another hearing process. Right. Will the city have to do that or not?
As far as I know, we're going to, and that will be in conjunction with the county and also with District 15.
Okay. County, of course, passed their budget yesterday, and of course the good news from that was the half-cent sales tax
disappears.
That disappears, and plus their tax rate comes back down. Were you surprised at all that got taken care of? I know that's a different jurisdiction. It's county government.
Different jurisdiction, but we've seen the same thing. We're able to retire the debt on the fire station because of the half-cent sales tax, just because of increased sales in our area. And that's really good news. But I think the driver of all of this is the tourism that is provided within the community. Look at all during the course of the year, all of the softball teams, baseball teams that come into Beatrice. They spend a lot of money here. And a lot of the money that they spend here is sales taxed base. And so all of that adds to the coffers of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to get accomplished in trying to improve our community.
So the next time somebody says, why are you building these 2-3 ball fields or things like that, and they say we don't need them, your answer is? We do need them, and we want to continue to utilize those as best we can. We've got a state-of-the-art complex at Hannibal Park. Even the Scott Street ball fields are in really, really good condition. And we have comments from people outside of our community want to actually bring their ball teams here because of the playing fields that we have and the condition of those playing fields. Diana, that same principle can apply to an airport too. The nicer the facility you have, the more capabilities you have, the better off you are in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make a difference.
Yeah. In the 50 years you've been here, as far as the actual use of it, you count everything: recreation, travel, just flight lessons, businesses coming in. How has the traffic changed over the years? Has it gotten greater? Does it kind of plateau at a certain point, or what would you say?
I would say the one of the biggest changes I've seen is our hangars. Years ago, there was maybe more flying, but right now we are seeing more need for hangars than we did over 50 years ago. That has been the biggest need and the biggest want right now. Fuel has pretty much stayed the same. It might have been better years ago, which I can't quite understand why all of that comes together like that. But yeah, it's the need for more hangar space.
Like drivers, have you felt the cost of the higher fuel costs and things like that in terms of aviation?
Absolutely. It has increased a lot, a lot. That did slow down some of the smaller aircraft traffic, but I think the business jets, they still have to go and they still pay the higher price.
Dennis, you got big shoes to fill here. You must hangar space, one of the things you mentioned you'd like to work on. Any other goals you'd like to see in your first few years here?
There's some stuff being talked about right now, and it's all good for the community and growth. And I think the airport's in great condition, and Diana's set it up for success, and it's headed in the right direction. So.
Thank you.
One thing I forgot to mention too, maintenance as far as aircraft. Talk a little bit quickly about the services the airport has in terms of people.
Right now we do have actually two aircraft maintenance shops. One is an avionics. We're so fortunate to have an avionics shop on the field because a lot of the airports in the state of Nebraska are not that fortunate. So we do, and we see a lot of traffic going over to our avionics shop, and then also for the maintenance.
Mechanic on duty pretty much all of the time, or how does that
One
work
of them
out?
usually is, and a lot of times there's two. They're both there at the same time then.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap up our program today, we'd like to thank you, Diana, for 50 years of service. I thought I was here a long time. I got a ways to go before I met Diana. But
well, I want to thank you also and everyone else for all the kindness and the support through the years. They've made the journey a great one.
I know it's always been fun for us. We don't get out to the airport that often, but covering some of the events out there, it's been enjoyable to watch all that and kind of get to see the public interest up close when those things occur, and they're a lot of fun. So I imagine you might probably still be at a few of those, even though you won't be the
I would probably be more than willing to help at those. You're absolutely right.
Well, happy retirement. Thanks for coming in,
Thank
Diana,
you.
and appreciate it. Dennis, good luck in the new position.
Thank you.
Mayor, thanks again.
Thank you, Dennis.